What's up, Pirates? Ray Talks here with Awaken TCG, and today we have a very special interview for all of you. We have Jackson Wong.
Yeah, like I said, I'm Jackson Huang. I go by Clyde sometimes, on social media and everything, and I'm like the recently crowned second place at the North American Finals.
Hey, congratulations! That is an amazing feat, by the way.
Thank
Amazing
you, thank you.
feat. That is probably like, other than getting first, that's the second best thing you could do, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah, of
that's
course.
like the biggest tournament, right, ever so far,
Yeah, in North America at least.
into the world.
So far, yeah, it's like what, 2,000 people or 1,900 people?
Yeah, yeah, it was like 1,900 people, which is an insane number.
Yeah.
But before we get into the tournament and your run, how well you did, Can we talk a little bit about like your past with card games? Like, how'd you get started in card games? Were you a little kid playing? Did you just recently get into it? Like, give me a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so I was like a super late bloomer. I didn't really grow up playing card games because they're expensive. And
Hmm.
I didn't have a job or anything or that kind of like
Yeah,
extra
yeah, yeah.
income, so I couldn't afford like Yu-Gi-Oh, which was pretty expensive even back then.
Hmm.
So I actually only got started 2 or 3 years ago with Digimon. Like after five sets of Digimon came out, my friend introduced me to it.
Hmm.
He was like, "Oh, you want to get into Digimon?" And I've always been like a Digimon fanboy.
Yeah.
Like I liked it more than Pokemon, and I tried it out. And the game was fun. It was very beginner friendly, and then I played some locals. I was like, "Oh, I'm pretty decent at it. Let's try to play some like official tournaments."
Yeah.
I topped in like my second one, and then I was like, "Okay, maybe I'm pretty good at it. So let's try to play more." And then I eventually got better and better and started getting some like notable tops and started getting myself known. So that's my first card game. And then after that,
Okay.
One Piece was brand new, like the year after I started playing Digimon.
Uh huh.
And I was like, okay, this is my chance to get started into a new game where I'm on like equal playing field as everybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Whereas in Digimon, I came late.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is like kind of prove whether I'm good or not. So I got started into One Piece right away.
Uh
I
huh.
jumped into competitive scene, and then I did pretty well early, earning like one of the first serial Luffy's. And yeah, never really looked back since.
Oh, interesting. So for me, it was like your experience with Digimon was kind of how I got into One Piece. First
Mhm.
tournament I did online, I topped, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting. Like, maybe I do have what it takes. So I'm relatively new to. So that's cool hearing that. You don't have to have 10 years of experience to do something like this. You can be relatively new and
Yeah.
build your way up with hard work, practice, right? So
Yeah, for sure. Like anybody can pick it up. You can pick it up now. You can pick it up at any age, whether you're like really young or really old. As long as you kind of have the motivation or
yeah.
dedication or even like the joy for the game, then you can do well.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I do want to get, since we're talking about One Piece, I do want to get into kind of your achievements, throughout One Piece from the beginning, your first year Luffy, to now. Like, give me a little rundown on. I don't know if you know every tournament, but just how many tops do you actually have?
Yeah, I think I remember most of them. So the first big tournament I won was the deck limited battle. So that was the preset one where it was just starter decks.
Hmm.
There was three going on in NA, I think, and one of my friends won the second one. Or two of my friends actually in the second one, they got first and second, so they
Hmm.
had serial Luffy's. They're pretty well known too, Kevin Zhao and Chris Sock.
Hmm.
They're my New York locals. So after that, there was one more. So I decided to play that one, and I got first in that one. So that was my first serial Luffy. After that, then the Treasure Cups. The first one that I won was the Las Vegas Treasure Cup, which was like in March,
Hmm.
and that was my second serial Luffy. After that, it was just a bunch of regionals and Treasure Cups. And like
Uh-huh.
I think I played differently for each one. If you look at my tops, most of them are Treasure Cups, just
Yeah,
because Treasure Cups is top eight for serial Luffy's, or regionals is top two.
gotcha.
And like I'm a realist. Getting top two in like a 500 man tournament is super hard.
Yeah, yeah,
So like I don't want to sweat it out and then like miss out and get like six or
yeah,
something and kind of like get down myself. So I kind of like take those a lot easier. I kind of chill those, play like Nami or Black Yellow Big Mom or something.
yeah, yeah. That
And
makes
take those
sense.
easy. Yeah. But most of my tops come from Treasure Cups where, it's top eight for Sir Luffy. It's a lot easier to get. So that's when I try hard, like play like my meta decks. So, I have times where I just take off just because you don't always want to be sweating. You want to have fun in the game
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. I definitely have like nowhere near the amount of success you do. I've won one tournament before, um, and I'm trying to catch up, right? So I'm playing catch up to a lot
It
of
starts with
players.
one, so you're on your way there, but like you definitely have lost stuff too.
Um, but yeah, no. So I appreciate you telling me all your tops. I think you're an amazing player. Before I even started One Piece, there was some names where I was following the competitive scene for a little, and your name would always pop up. Cross always pop up. Will to Win, William Craddock. You see these names, and from a casual player where I was just only looking into the scene, these names just keep popping up on tournaments, and so it's like it's amazing to finally meet you at the tournament and get this interview from you. Um, let's
No,
go
I appreciate
ahead.
you having me here. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and give us a little breakdown on. I don't want to talk about too much on your thoughts on what happened on the tournament. That could be for another time. Can you
Mhm.
just give me a breakdown of your day one tournament wise? Like, you're from your round one to your round 10.
Yep. So we had I had a 2 round bye, and that ended up lasting like 4 hours or something. So a lot of people went to get food. I wanted to stay in the venue because it kind of helps me get in the zone. If I go to get food, it kind of makes me ease up a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
like kind of gets me out of that competitive mindset. So I
Mm-hmm.
stayed there the entire time. And then my first round was against I forget. I think it's Purple Luffy. Oh yeah. So my total matches for today were like pretty well spread. Like
Mm-hmm.
two Purple Luffy, three mirror Sakazuki mirrors,
Okay.
two and now one category. So I played like Morgan's Word of matchups.
Mm-hmm.
I was 10-0, I think. Oh no, 9-0 because it was only 10 rounds, right? Yeah. So I was 9-0, and
Mm-hmm.
then in the finals is where I lost
Okay.
to the mirror. And so I ended the day 9-1 and fifth seed, which was like the second highest X1 because there's three undefeated. Yeah, the tournament was like pretty grueling because it was lasted forever. The rounds lasted really long, so we didn't finish till I think 11.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I didn't really get food. I had like my friend bring me snacks,
Yeah.
so but I didn't really eat a meal. But yeah, that was a really long day, and all the matchups were really fun. And I couldn't be happier with like a fifth place out of Swiss. I just wanted to make day two.
Yeah.
That was the first step.
Yeah, no, that was 100% the goal for a lot of people, right? Just make that top cut because
Right,
that's where you could really show off your skill, in
right,
that best of three, right? So, um,
exactly. And getting a high seeding too, because seeding matters in Top Cut.
yeah, right. Yeah, you choose the higher seed chooses to go first or second, right? Game one.
Exactly.
Okay, so you ended up fifth place. Fifth place. How is it? I want to get your thoughts on how mentally you take on the challenge of playing Sakazuki, at that high level for these extended periods of time. How do you think about that? What's your
Mhm.
what's your thought process going into trying to overcome a challenge like that?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things. Like as the day went on and on, a couple of my friends who like switched off Sakazuki were saying like, I'm so glad I'm not Sakazuki right now because like I'm drained, I'm fried. I'm like I feel bad
Yes.
for all you Sakazuki players because you guys are probably like fried right now. But I think I was still like in the moment, like was like comfortable. I was playing games to team rounds, so I kept like, the reps up.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of helped me get into it, and like I also like try to like it's kind of like muscle memory. Like
Yeah.
a
Okay.
lot of the lines are like a lot of muscle memory. So I
Okay.
played a lot of games before that. So a lot of it came to like the preparation I did before this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even like the long turns, it would be turns that I've come across before, situations I've come across before. So as long as you practice and prep well, then even like playing a deck of Sakazuki for long periods of time, it'll help you prevent from being burned out.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I, as someone who has definitely tried the deck, realized quick like that deck is kind of like law for me. It's just there's this initial hump that I can't get over.
Mm,
Maybe I don't want to put in as much effort, and so I went on a deck like a Nell. While that deck still takes a lot of skill to
right,
pilot, it's
of
just not
course.
at the same level, right? Um,
Yeah, and it also depends on like play style is a very real thing here. Like
mhm.
some people like being aggro, some people like being control, and some people like a mix of both.
Yeah, yeah.
But play style is definitely a thing. Like I don't think like just because you're not built or comfortable with one deck doesn't mean that you can't play decks like it. It's just play style.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So that is the end of your day one. Let's go ahead and jump into your day two. So this was the beginning of Top Cut. Now,
Hmm.
what time did you guys actually start Top Cut?
They told us to get there by 8:30, so I got there like 7:45 just because I like to get there early and get
Hmm.
some reps in. But I don't think it started until 9:30 something, so maybe like an hour after, which
Okay.
isn't as bad as day one. I mean, day one took like 2 hours to get started, so I was
Yeah.
okay with 1 hour.
Okay.
But yeah, so we got started pretty early, 9:30, and also like I was hoping we started early and finished early because I had a flight to catch at like 10 p.m. that day.
Oh, so you were like kind of on a time crunch, like, oh, hopefully it doesn't
Yeah,
last like day one, right?
yeah, but I also thought like if I'm like running late on my flight, that means I'm like getting farther and farther. So I'm like I'm okay with that. I would like push back my flight if
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
so walk me through your first round. So it was your top 64 match. How did that go?
Yeah, so it was a Sakazuki mirror, and I was the higher seed, so I got to choose who went first or second in the first match.
Hmm.
So I chose second. I won that one pretty convincingly. Then he chose second when he lost. And then he beat me in game two, and then game three I chose second, and that's probably the difference. It was just going second difference.
Going second,
But
yeah.
that's when like the higher seed definitely mattered because if he was a higher seed than me, he would have went second twice, and maybe we could have got it from me.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense, right? If he goes second twice, potentially you might not have came out on top.
Exactly.
Because in the mirror, yeah, going second is definitely favored. So
Yeah.
that brought you to top 32, right? What did you
Yeah.
verse in top 32?
This was the category, and this is like one of the scariest matchups because like anything can happen. They can trigger a lot of stuff, or
Yeah.
they can draw really well, or you can draw really poorly. But it's a matchup that like I rather go against like Katakuri than NL because NL triggers more. Katakuri is kind of linear, so you kind of know what's coming. Like
Hmm.
even if you can't stop what's coming, you know what's coming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there's always a chance they break. But yeah, so this was very similar to a top 64 match where whoever went second won. It was me. I won first game because I chose second. He won second game because he chose second, and then third game I won because I chose second. And all the games are pretty much blowouts. Like going second in that matchup is so important. And it gives you such a strong advantage. But this was a huge pressure match because winning this meant you're in top 16, which you got the uncut sheet, which is like the kind of first big jump in top cut. That top cut sheet is like extremely valuable.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Getting into top 16 gives you that full uncut sheet, and it's foil. It's every manga, the whole all the
Yeah.
alt. It's an
I
insane.
haven't looked at it yet, but like I can't wait to open it.
Yeah, no, that's you should definitely post that on Twitter. That'd be it's for all of us to see. So okay, you got your top 16 now. You got your uncut sheet. You got rid of not you got rid of you beat the Katakuri. Like you said, is probably one of the scariest matchups because
Mhm.
if they top three trigger characters, you're
Which
kind
he
of
did to me actually.
right
I
that
think
they
like the first two games he triggered Peril out of life and also played another Peril like on his first turn. So
um,
that was like very scary. Like getting rid of like one or two Perils is easy. You have families for that. But getting rid of all three is annoying because
yeah.
you had to Lucci them and then they get the extra card draw.
Card. Yeah, see, it gets scary. That is the challenge with yellow decks, right? Is are they gonna sack me? Or are they gonna
Yeah.
just win from triggers? But that's how the deck archetype is, right? Because the yellow
Mhm.
cards aren't as good as some of the other cards that the other colors have, um,
Mhm.
or at least I like to think so. Okay, let's go ahead and get into your next match, which is this is top 16 going into top 8.
Mhm.
What did you
And
play against?
this was a Sakazuki mirror. And this I felt like I was playing like, this matchup. I played this matchup a million times because all my friends are on Sakazuki. For a month, ever since OP5 came out, I told all my friends that like want to be competitive or whatever. I told them I tested like everything: Purple Luffy and now Sakazuki,
Uh-huh.
Katakuri. If you want to do well, just play Sakazuki because that's the deck that I think would be like best, like well-rounded. So a lot of my friends are on Sakazuki early. So I practiced the mirror a lot. And going game one was a really weird game because we both played 10 cost Kaido
Mm.
out.
Mm-hmm.
The difference was that I went second, so I got it out first. So I had the extra 12K body, and when he played his, I was able to go wide and still wipe out his Kaido and still get value. So like that was basically the difference. And then the next game, I went first.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my deck is pretty well suited to go first as well. I can't remember what happened, but I think I knew like when to be aggro. I knew when to bot deck his like Lucci Hina so that he wouldn't have to combo. I think I ended up bot decking a Lucci so that he didn't have combo.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it pretty convincingly 2-0, but he was a great player.
Okay. And for anybody watching, I'll have his deck list up on screen while we're talking about this top cut, just so you guys can take a look at it. I don't want to get an in-depth review on his guy or on his deck list because that would take 15, 20 minutes. That could be another video. But yeah, no. So okay, you got that match out of the way. Now you're in
Yeah,
top 8. This is
yeah,
another slight jump, right? I think you get the
yeah.
mat.
Yeah, you get the bat. I didn't really like, mind that because it's just a mat. Like it could be worth some money, but it wasn't as big of a jump as top 16.
Mm-hmm.
But the top eight match was where like another big jump happened because if you play this, then you're basically in double elimination because if you lose the final or semifinals, you still have one more match for third place.
Mm-hmm.
And this was scary because I went against one of my testing partners, Cody Angeloff, who's a
Mm-hmm.
great Yu-Gi-Oh player as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I kind of felt like I told him like at the beginning of the game like I have to win this for like the One Piece players because if you win this then like all the Yu-Gi-Oh players are gonna be swarming over because they're
It's
like
gonna be a bad look for us.
yeah I'm like yeah this Yu-Gi-Oh player is taking over our One Piece Nats and he's been a One Piece player for a couple months too so I guess I can't just classify him as a One Piece
Yeah,
player
yeah,
but
yeah.
I really wanted to do this just to show that like the people who've been in One Piece since the beginning of the game like we don't want like some newcomer
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
taking over a
Yeah,
game
no, I get it.
but no like Cody's a great friend of mine and I play test with him basically the last 3 weeks all the time. And yeah, so this was another mirror as well, and we practice this all the time. But this is another 2-0. I think it was pretty convincing as well. It was kind of the same as last round. I don't think Cody, I think I remember his match very clearly because he drew kind of poorly both games.
Hmm.
He drew like a very Hound Blaze heavy hand, so he would swing big on my life. Like even I went to zero like very early, but I knew that he didn't establish a board, so I can just wall it with blockers. So I think like part of it was bad draws, because he's a really good player too.
Okay, and then so that is your match to go into top four. This is
Yep.
where
So
it
now I'm
gets
top four.
this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Zoro, RP Luffy, and then Sokka and Enel. So four different decks.
Yeah, that was awesome to see.
That is unheard of in other regions. I know Europe had a top four Sokka, but
Hmm.
they love their Sakazuki. They probably had more than us.
Hmm.
But yeah, four different leaders, which is amazing to see, right? Everyone loves to see diversity, and seeing four different decks in top four of the biggest NA tournament was probably a good sight to see for everybody, right? Everybody was probably like, "Oh, nice." It's not
Yeah.
four Sakazukis.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so tell me a little bit about your top four match. So this match is basically you win, you're guaranteed worlds. You lose, you don't get in.
Exactly. Yeah, this is probably the biggest match of the tournament. Like, yeah, the finals is great, but if you're in the finals, you already made it to Japan. It's just a difference in pricing, but this is like the biggest show
Yes. Yes.
between like any place because it decides whether you're going to Japan or not.
Yeah.
So this match is against Ripper Luffy, and I played against one of my other close friends too, so I had to go back to back friendly fire.
Oh.
Is Victor, who's like a great player as well, and I practiced with him on Friday, and he brought out this deck. I thought he was playing like Purple Luffy or Sakazuki, but he showed me his red Purple Luffy list. And I always thought this matchup was favored for Sakazuki, but he cooked me in playtesting, like
Uh-huh.
5-1. I took like one game off of him, and that was because he misplayed. So like he basically I couldn't beat him in playtesting.
Uh-huh.
So and like he told me before or afterwards, he's like, yeah, I built this specifically to beat Katak or Sakazuki,
Mm-hmm.
and in Top Cut he beat four Sakazukis.
Yes.
So I was terrified. This is the match I did not want to see. But yeah, so this is on a stream match, and
Uh-huh.
I can't wait for it to be uploaded because this was such a great best of three. But yeah, so first game, I felt like I drew the nuts. Oh yeah, so at this point too, I was keeping track of the seeding too because that mattered, and I was keeping track of the four people who were seeded higher than me, and I
Okay.
saw that they all lost, so I knew that I had higher seeding for the rest of the tournament, so I kind of had a leg up there,
Gotcha.
which is great. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, so I chose first. I saw basically the great curve. He told me he saw a great curve too, but I think if we both see like godly, then I think I win that because I go first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Second game he blew me out. I couldn't keep up. And the thing with Rep Luffy is that it's hard to tell. Like you have to play. Usually Sakazuki wants to play reactionary, but Rep Luffy you have to play kind of predictive. Like you have to set up either a cost reduction like Kuzan
Mm-hmm.
if you're expecting big bodies, or you play a blocker if you're expecting to go 7K. But yeah, it's hard to predict what they're gonna do. You just have to guess. But yeah, he cooked me game two, and then game three was like extremely close. I felt like I kind of learned the matchup by then, and I knew what to do and what not to do. But yeah, it came down to my last life. Basically, I needed a 1K out of life, or I could have countered out too, but I was afraid he'd wall up. So I figured I just take the last life. If it's 1K, I win because I would have exactly 9K encounters, and then he's gonna go a 9K attack. And I did the math. Like if you see the stream, I'm like counting cards. I'm like, okay, I have 13 counters on board and in
Uh,
trash. I have 15 counters not in trash. Half my deck is counters, so I have a slightly higher than 50% chance of getting a counter. So I just took it,
yeah.
and it was a counter, and then he went all in, and I ended up countering out, and then I was able to win on the crackback. But that was like that was a great best of three and like the biggest, like scariest match of the tournament for me.
Yeah, no, that I mean, it sounds exciting. I can definitely hear it just from the emotion when you're talking about it. I can definitely hear like,
Yeah.
oh, this was a hype match. Yeah, when it gets uploaded, I probably will react to that honestly. So okay, you beat another one of your great buddies. So two team kills back to back.
Yeah,
Unfortunate, but
which
it
is
has to
unfortunate.
happen. Somebody has to win,
Yeah,
right?
but on the bright side of that, it also means that at least one of us is going to move on. Like if we were on the opposite side of brackets, there's a chance we both lose. So at
True.
least
Yeah.
bittersweet, but like at least one of us moved
Yeah.
on.
100%. No, that makes sense. And then, so you go through um, Sakazuki. You went through uh,
Katakuri,
Katakuri, Sakazuki,
Sakazuki,
and then
Red Purple Luffy.
now Luffy. So you got
Yep.
four sets out of the way. In those four sets, you
Oh, this is five. It's five because there's three Sakazukis, one Katakuri, and one Red Purple
okay.
Luffy.
So you've done five sets.
Yep.
So up to this point, you've done five sets. Now, I did a little bit of research and saw that these next games were going to be your 14th game, your 15th, and your 16th. So
Yeah.
that is a lot of games to play Sakazuki at the highest level.
Right.
There was a small break in between one of the rounds. No.
It was a small, it was a pretty big break. So we
Okay,
were supposed
big.
to play at 4:30. I don't think we played until like 7. So that was like a 2.5 hour break.
Gotcha. Because they had to follow the final schedule or something like that.
Yeah, so they wanted to put us on stage, but there was so much things going on stage. Like they had to finish the Battle Spirits
Mm-hmm.
finals, then the Digimon finals, and then they had a performance by the theme song singers,
Mm-hmm.
and then it would be us. So we had to finish with all that. Um, and then that's why it took so long.
Okay, so from your perspective, do you think that break helped you, or do you think it hurt you? Like, I don't know, stamina wise, mental exhaustion. Like, when we're talking about that kind of stuff, do you think that break actually helped you in the long run, or do you think it would have been better if they just kept it rolling?
I definitely we just kept it rolling because after that break, like after 30 minutes, like the adrenaline's pumping. I told everybody I'm going to Japan. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
so hyped. I was
Mm-hmm.
high on adrenaline. Then like after 30 minutes went by, I kind of just crashed.
Uh huh.
I
Okay.
didn't even play test anymore because I was like kind of out of the moment anymore. Like I didn't want to play. And
Mm-hmm.
then I went to get food. So I never get food during tournaments because I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like it just puts me in a different state of mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was just walking around a lot and like I just wasn't in kind of the tournament mindset anymore
Mm-hmm.
either. And like also like we already guaranteed going to Japan. Like going first was definitely a goal of mine going into this. But I feel like yeah, the break kind of just dampened my competitive
Mm-hmm.
mindset.
No, no, that 100% makes sense. Even if you win this, you're in the moment. If the games keep rolling, you're still in that headspace. All right, like, let's keep it going, right?
Yeah,
Like, let's
exactly.
keep it going. Let's keep the ball rolling. I'm on fire right now. I'm hitting. I'm
Yeah,
playing well. Let's do it. You
I
take a
really felt
break.
that way.
Yeah, no, and it's true. It's like that because you take a small break and then people call it icing out. Oh, okay, you're getting cold now. Maybe you're not in that same mentality. You're not playing as good if you take a long break. So it worked out up until that point. You guys take a break. You come back. You ready to go. And tell me a little bit about the finals. Who were you playing? We all know is Jonas.
Hmm. Great player.
What? Yeah, amazing player. Um, I'm on an L, so I'm not trying to be biased, but I wanted the NL to win.
Yeah, no problem. I think a lot of people just didn't want to see Sakazuki win, which is understandable.
Yeah, yeah. But to be honest with you, I only knew Jonas from from some tops that I would see him in tournaments. Nothing. I definitely knew your name more because of Cross the Server and just seeing you around Twitter and just all this stuff. I think he just made his Twitter. Um, Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about that finals match. That finals match was very exciting. I watched it. It was hype. The audience was into it. A lot of cheering. It was definitely a new experience for me. I've never been in card games, so a finals like this was like wow, like this is amazing, right? So give me a little rundown on how that match went for you, and yeah.
Yeah, so I went against Jonas. This is my first time meeting him too. I talked to him online a lot, but I always hear a lot about him. Cross always talks about him, saying how like he's probably one of the best players. He just plays like weird jank, like Lucio or whatever, and that if he ever plays a real deck, then he's gonna be a monster.
Yes.
And he just proved that. But yeah, we were like chill the entire time. When they were putting us in the backstage, it was kind of an uncomfortable setup. Like
Uh-huh.
if you saw the table, it was like it didn't have leg space or whatever, so our legs were in a weird spot. We also had to hunch over a lot.
Uh-huh.
So it was just pretty uncomfortable in general.
Okay.
But like to the game, like I felt like game one. Oh, one of the big things is that like I thought Top Gun would be open deck list, but it wasn't.
Oh,
So I didn't know that his list wasn't running Thunderbolt. So I had
gotcha.
to play around that the entire time, and
Mm.
it kind of made me like sacrifice something. Like I destroyed a Sabo instead of a Borsal because I was trying to play around Thunderbolt.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, so in game one, I felt it was really close. It was back and forth. And it came down to him seeing an double Maru, one off with the Shura off life and another off with another Shura. And to his point, he did get a lot of chances to see it. Like he searched twice with Shura,
Mhm.
and you go to 10 cards, you're probably gonna find one tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that was a super close game.
Okay, so that was
Uh,
game one, correct?
Yep. And then
Okay.
game two, like before game two was starting, I was like, man, I really hope I don't get cooked 2-0 on stream. Like I waited 3 hours for this, and then like if I go down 0-2 right now, it's gonna look so bad. So I was like, I really want to win this one.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
so game two, I chose second again.
Mhm.
And I felt like I really executed my game plan like really well. I did exactly what I wanted to do against NL, which is kind of match their pace life-wise,
Mhm.
play out some Porcelino blockers, play out like 7 cost Porcelino, and kind of match clearing their big bodies. So I felt like by the end of the game, he like was down to like one card in hand the entire time. So I was just able to go wide and chip him down. And I was ready to take that one. And I was like, okay, it's 1-1 now.
Yes.
Like I don't care what happens at this point anymore. At least we gave him a good finals.
Yes.
I just wanted to make it entertaining.
Uh-huh.
Yep, and then game three, he let me go first. And then this game started like all three games started very similarly. We just didn't attack each other. He
Yeah.
played Om Holy a lot. I played like unkillable blockers.
Uh-huh.
And but this game, he just blew me out. Like the triple Yamato back to back to back. I
Yeah.
also like if you watch that game, I misplayed so many times.
Uh-huh.
One specifically, I don't know why. Like this one, I had like a Hina and Borsellino. I was going to my 8th on turn. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if he plays Yamato here, I'm just gonna Hina leader Borsellino.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got to answer for Yamato. Next turn, he plays Yamato, and then I'm like, huh, how do I get rid of that Yamato? Well, Hina's only 4, my leader's 5, and then Borsellino can't bot that yet. Like I
Uh-huh.
couldn't add that like 4 plus 1 plus 4 is equals 9, so I couldn't
Yeah.
comprehend that like I saved its exact play to kill his Yamato,
Uh-huh.
but for some reason it wasn't adding up to me that that could kill him. I don't
Yes.
know. Maybe that was a 10 cost or something.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I was like, okay, all right, I can't kill it. All right, this Borsellino's useless. So I just ditched it, and then I didn't even realize until like after I rewatched the game. And then like another mistake, he swung 6K, I ditched a 1K. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, just so many misplays, and like I could blame off fatigue too, but like Jonas went through just as many games as
Yeah.
I did, and he still played like pretty like mistake free. So
Mm-hmm.
like it just came down maybe just the stamina or maybe just skill. But like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he got in the end. But I was still really happy with second and still happy that it went 2-1 and not 2-0.
Yeah.
And happy for Jonas because
Mm-hmm.
he's just as deserving as me to win this entire thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you guys are both incredible players. Obviously now we could say the two best in North America, 100%, right? Um, and
And some
amazing.
people could contest that, but I mean I would say we're two of the better players. And like I hope that like nobody's too like mad that we're gonna be the ones representing. One of the things after the EU finals happened, I was like, wow, I'm really just like EU. They have two really good players, two really well-known players that can represent them well. Like I hope even if I don't make it, I hope like some really well-known people represent NA.
Yeah, 100%. And that happened exactly. You, Jonas, I know Jonas is from Arizona, where Cross is
Yep.
from. They have.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll look at their locals and I'm like, dude, they're stacked. Like their locals look like
Yeah.
top 64 regional. Like there's so many good players over there. So,
Yeah.
and then you, like you said, Chris Sock. What was the other name you mentioned?
Kevin Zhao, Chris
Yeah.
Sock, and then we just have a bunch of other like serial Luffy winners or like
Yes.
even regional
A
winners.
lot of killers over there from where you're from. Over here, from where I'm from, I live in the Bay. Not too many great players. We do have some serials over here, but we're kind of spread out, and so we're definitely trying to catch up to regions like Arizona, regions like where are you from?
New
New
York.
York, like regions like New York.
Yeah.
We're trying to catch up, but
I mean, California is a big state in general, so if you combine all of California, you guys definitely have a lot of people.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But uh, yeah, I was speechless watching that finals. Honestly, you played amazing. He played amazing. It was fun to see. I know the crowd loved it. Um,
Oh yeah, that's another thing. The crowd, we couldn't hear the speakers or
uh-huh.
what announcers were saying, but we could hear like when the crowd got loud.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I would hit a life and hit a trigger, I would just hear roars are going on. Or
Oh,
every time he would play Om Holy, I would hear like a roar from the crowd or something. And like, I love that thing. I
uh-huh.
love being able to hear the crowd. And like, I couldn't hear what they were saying. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
hear who they were cheering for, but
Just
just
you just
hearing
heard
them
it.
react was a great
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, I can only imagine. That must have been you know, a a great experience. Like being in a situation like that. Playing for first or second. Um,
Hmm.
a great run by you. Definitely, you showed off your skill. Definitely, if you had any haters, you proved them all wrong. You're an amazing player. I want to jump into, since we now have gone over your top 64 run into second place, go over your pricing a little bit. So, you got a lot of packs, a lot of
Yeah.
packs. Let's talk about some of the big items we were talking about earlier. The uncut sheet,
Yep.
the top 16 uncut sheet, which is like a full sheet. If you guys don't know, I'll have it up on screen. It's a sheet of all the alt arts from the deck, and so it includes all the mangas, the Oda signed Luffy, all these high end, very expensive cards right now.
Hmm.
Um, and then going into top eight, all that was added was just a mat, right? A play mat.
Man, probably some extra packs,
Okay.
honestly. I honestly didn't even follow like what I was getting extra. After they gave me the pricing, they're like, okay, we're kind of everything for you just to make sure you have everything.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, they could totally lie to me and say that I got half of this and I wouldn't even know.
Yeah. Okay. And then nothing for top four, just first, second, third, correct?
Top four probably get some extra packs, honestly.
Top.
I'm not even sure, but yeah, third, second, first definitely get a lot
So
more.
yeah, third place, first and second, you guys got a Kaido, a
Hmm.
gold, silver, bronze outer like foil.
Yeah,
Um,
I got it right here.
oh, go
It's
ahead and show it off.
Yeah, I got it right here. I mean, I'll
Oh,
show you.
nice.
I I I was like, this looks crazy. Like I'm not a purple player, but like this
That
looks
is
crazy.
insane. Yeah, you're holding a couple $100,000 in your hand right there. um,
Allegedly, yeah.
yeah, allegedly. So you got that, and then the trophy. Then you got the trophy, second place trophy. What are you gonna sell any of your prizing? Are you gonna keep it for now? What are your thoughts on what you're gonna do with that?
I hadn't decided yet. I think I'm gonna sell most of it because I don't really like holding on to prizing. The nostalgic ones I'll keep. So maybe the
Mm-hmm.
trophy, the uncut sheet, I hadn't decided yet, but I
Mm-hmm.
also wouldn't know where I would put it. Like I don't know if I want to hang out like a poster because I
Mm-hmm.
know some people plan on hanging out like a painting or
Yeah, yeah,
poster.
yeah.
So I'll probably try to find a way to like get rid of all of it, but I hadn't decided yet.
Okay.
I just unpacked it today and I
Okay.
just saw
Okay.
how much I had to go through. And you know,
Yes.
the market's still up there, so I don't know what any of this is worth.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And a lot of these things where this is our first time seeing, so it's like we don't really
Exactly.
know how to accurately, come up with a value for something like
Yep.
that. Um,
Yep.
okay, but yeah, you can take your time deciding. No rush. You have worlds to prepare for soon. But I do want to ask you, has it hit yet that you got second place at this tournament? Has it like can you like do you feel like what do you feel?
Yeah. Honestly, it didn't even hit me until like a couple hours after I still won. Like I kept, no, I was so excited. I'm going to Japan. Like, it doesn't feel real that I'm going to
Uh
Japan. Like
huh.
I've been to Japan before, but going to Japan, like that's not like a personal trip. That it's like I'm going to Japan with purpose now.
Yes. Yeah.
It still hasn't hit yet because it feels like I just won a tournament. It doesn't feel like I'm preparing for another tournament yet. So
Uh huh.
right now I'm just riding the high, like the
Okay.
honeymoon of winning a
Yes.
tournament. In like maybe a week or two, it'll start to hit me like I have another tournament to prepare for. Like I
Hmm.
have to make sure that
Yes.
we're represented well and that I don't make our region look bad
Yeah.
and make myself look bad. So that's probably when I'll hit that like I'm going to Worlds,
Like,
not that
oh
I
damn.
just top nationals.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Fair. For me, it was a similar experience. For me, I didn't expect to win.
Mm,
Didn't know I had it in me. So for about a week, I was like, dude, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, let me, give myself some flowers. I did go through, a hard bracket and stuff like that. So
hmm.
definitely prove to myself that I can do it. But for you, this is just a different level. This is, the biggest tournament. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Thank you,
You
thank
did
you.
an amazing job. Gave everyone a show. Um, so I think we're coming to the end of the interview. I definitely wanted to focus more on your rounds, your gameplay, things like that. I think these interviews definitely sometimes can go in different directions, but that's the direction I kind of decided to go for. I wanted to get
Hmm.
your view on how your rounds went, who you played, things like that. Get into why we're playing this game. The details on what a lot of us competitive players want to hear. You know, um, but yeah, I appreciate
Gotcha.
you coming on and talking to me
Thanks.
for this interview.
Yep.
Is
Yeah,
there
thanks for having me.
is there anything that you want to shout out? Anybody you want to thank? The floor is yours. Go ahead and say whatever you want.
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me here. I love watching content on One Piece, and you're definitely one of the ones I watch. I try to like, consume as much as I can because
Thank you.
it's much easier consuming content than playing for me. It helps me not get burned out. So
Yeah,
thanks for all you do and having me here.
thank you.
And shout outs to Bandai for a great game. It was great meeting all the the game designers and all the production team who made the stream. Thanks to the organizers and all the judges. They had a lot to deal with, and I know a lot of them are like friends of mine, and I talked to them, and they were stressed, so it couldn't have been easy. So thanks to them for holding it, getting through the hiccups. And yeah, thanks to my playtesting partners, Grand Line, my Discord, are like just my friends. Like, we're not all like super competitive about it, but we're always there,
Hmm.
supporting each other, cheering for each other. And, one of us wins, then we all win.
Hmm.
So definitely thanks to them. They definitely helped me prepare for it, and a lot of them were in Top Cut as well. And yeah, that's thanks to the people who are watching on my stream or even in person, like supporting me, because I definitely heard the cheers. Whether they were mine or Jonas's, it's hard to tell sometimes, but I think there were some times where they're cheering for me.
Yeah.
And then I know I watched the stream afterwards and I saw the people supporting me in
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah.
They're definitely you know, they're a big reason why I can continue playing this game because,
Hmm.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Don't be shy. What's your Twitter? What's your
Oh,
Patreon?
sorry, yeah.
All the good stuff. Come on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at ClydeTCG. My Patreon is the same thing, patreon.com/ClydeTCG. I try to post as much as I can. Like a lot of it's high level stuff, a lot of it's beginner stuff. I'm told it's very friendly to people who are getting into the game. It helps you kind of ramp up.
Uh-huh.
And it might be stuff that like seems very, second nature to people who play the game, but
Mhm.
there's some things that you might learn something new. And especially if you're beginning into the game, I try to like very break down everything like to the minute like fundamentals. So join it if you want to try it out and try to improve your gameplay. I think those are the only social media I have. I don't have a YouTube or anything, but I'm usually really easy to reach out on Twitter.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And for anybody that is still watching, I'll have all his, links to all his, his Patreon, his Twitter. I'll have it so you guys can go ahead and do your thing and follow him and subscribe to him. I definitely am going to give him a subscription on Patreon after this, 100%, just to support you. Like the
Yeah,
content,
appreciate it. Yeah.
you deserve it. You definitely deserve it. All right, thank you guys so much for watching until the end. If you're still watching, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. 70% of you guys that watch our channel are not subscribed, so go ahead and check right there down below. Make sure you're sub to our channel. You guys are returning viewers, but some of you guys might not be subscribed, so go ahead and subscribe to us. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.